Good morning. Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you as we celebrate this exciting and momentous occasion in Prince George's County. I am Gloria Brown Burnett, Director of the Prince George's County Department of Social Services. Today, I am joined by the Office of the County Executive for Prince George's County, represented by Dr. George Askew, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, representation from our local, state, and federal government for the presentation of more than $3 million in federal funds to support homeless youth in Prince George's County. This is huge. This initiative will target unaccompanied homeless youth ages 10 to 24 throughout Prince George's County, with three main areas of focus: housing, education and training, and the enhancement in our system, structure, and continuum of services. There are a number of driving factors that cause youth to be homeless in Prince George's County. A recent county survey of unaccompanied homeless youth indicated that our homeless youth roughly fall into three categories. 32% ran away from their families. 44% were kicked out or told to leave by their families. And 11% were discharged from institutions without skills or support systems to successfully transition to adulthood. This work is complex, and we must be comprehensive and inclusive in our approach. We've had a number of critical partners at the table during this process that we started, feels like forever ago, probably back to 2008 was when we first got started, really got moving in 2011, 2012. Many of them are here today, and I just would like for them to raise their hands. If I start trying to name, I know I'm going to mess up. So our partners from the Continuum of Services for Homeless Youth, please raise your hands. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge a few people here with us. Eve Schuman is the Regional Director for Prince George's County on behalf of U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. You'll hear from her. Marvin Turner is Director of National Capital Region, District of Columbia Field Office, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Joseph D. Felice is the Regional Director for Region 3, U.S. Housing and Urban Development. Norman Sushar, did I say that right, Norman? Director of the Office of Special Needs Assistance Programs under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and our subject matter expert. Dr. George Askew, that I already mentioned, is here. And here to provide us with a few remarks on behalf of U.S. Senator Ben Cardin, Jared Hawkins is the Regional Director for Prince George's County.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jared Hawkins. I'm representing Senator Ben Cardin. Senator Cardin is encouraged by the commitment of Prince George's County to work in a collaborative manner to fight childhood homelessness. With many homeless children in Prince George's County suffering from mental disabilities, physical disabilities, as well as victims of child abuse and neglect, along with the 2.5 million children who are homeless in the United States, Senator Cardin understands that this is an issue that we must combat with aggression and take seriously. That is why Senator Cardin is honored to work with federal delegation, Senator Van Hollen's office, Congressman Brown's office, Congressman Hoyer's office, in making sure that every child in Prince George's County has a safe and stable environment to call home. Thank you. I would like to introduce Eve Schuman, Regional Director for Senator Van Hollen's office.
Thank you. This is doing its own thing. I shouldn't have touched it. Thank you, Jared and Gloria. I'm Eve Schuman from Senator Chris Van Hollen's office. The senator sends his regrets that he was unable to make it, but he's asked me to come on his behalf and to pass along his heartfelt congratulations and thanks to the Prince George's County Department of Social Services and the Promise Prince George's Project for winning nearly $3.5 million in federal grant funding so that it may continue its important and precious work. On behalf of the Senator, I want to thank you for allowing us to take part of this proud moment. And he has also asked me to share the following. As we know, being homeless is one of the worst hardships a person can endure. But homeless youth often face a different set of challenges. They are at an increased risk when compared to other youth their age, facing being victims of abuse, violence, being incarcerated, and often suffering from mental illness. As of January 2018, Maryland had an estimated 7,144 people experiencing homeless at any given day. As he did in every year of his presidency, President Trump's fiscal year 2020 budget proposed drastic cuts to housing benefits that help millions of low-income seniors, people with disability, families with children, veterans, and other vulnerable people, and of course funding for programs like Promise Prince George's. If enacted, his proposed budget would simply exacerbate housing insecurity and in worst cases lead to more homelessness. The good news is that Senator Van Hollen and other members of Congress have worked on a bipartisan basis to reject these cuts. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, Senator Van Hollen is working to support critical housing programs that benefit vulnerable populations in Maryland. The Senator has requested $1.5 billion for the Home Investment Partnership Program, $3 billion for the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistant Grants, $24 billion for the tenant-based Section 8 rental assistance program, and $110 million for the Family Self-Sufficiency program. We want to thank you all for your work to increase access to affordable housing and to give every family in Prince George's County a safe and stable home. We are constantly encouraged by your efforts and advocacy, and Senator Van Hollen will continue to do his part to ensure you have federal support to reach our shared goals. Thank you again for allowing me the honor to speak with you today, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Before we go to our next speaker, I just wanted to highlight some other people that are here. A couple of members of our advisory board, the Prince George's County Department of Social Service Advisory Board. Please raise your hands. Delegate Jazz Lewis is with us today. Thank you so much. Christine Dershell Williams is here representing the Governor's Office on Children. Tiffany Hannon is here with Congressman Anthony Brown's office. Now, I'd like to bring to the podium Dr. George Askew, who represents our County Executive, Angela Also Brooks, but is also the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Health, Human Services, and Education. He is doing an incredible job of bringing awareness to us on a number of issues that sometimes we don't always think about. He's real health focused, and it's making a difference. And so, without further ado, I want to bring Dr. Askew to the mic.
I hope that's helpful in a good way. For those of you who don't make it down to Prince George's very often, this is the typical weather every day, right? So let people know, right? So good morning. We are beaming with excitement, and as County Executive Also Brooks will often say, Prince George is proud to be recipients among the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Selected Communities for the Youth Homeless Demonstration Program. And speaking of County Executive Also Brooks, it's my distinct pleasure to represent her this morning. She could not join us today, but certainly is cheering us on and grateful for the funding and the partnership. As many of you know, she has an unwavering passion and commitment to the youth of this county that encompasses their health, well-being, education, athletics, athletic participation, and character development. She emphatically believes that one homeless child is one too many, and I think we can all agree there. While serving as state's attorney, she worked diligently through partnerships on ways to eradicate youth homelessness. Like me, she is a strong proponent of collaborating with others, seeking social justice, and finding innovative solutions and initiatives to address the unique health and well-being needs of those facing the greatest social, health, and economic challenges. That's exactly why we have convened at Promise Place today, to celebrate one of those innovations. This continues to be a welcoming and caring place and environment for homeless youth seeking temporary shelter and guidance. Our youth face many challenges that could render them homeless. We're not unlike many other places across the country. But today, HUD and the county are sending a message to our youth in crisis that more help and assistance is on the way, and you are not alone. We see you. We have resources to help you navigate your life in a positive and independent direction, and we want you to succeed. We also know that adulting does not happen at 18. Maturation is an ongoing process. The HUD funds will allow us to provide life and social skills such as creating a resume, job training and searching, assessing educational options, handling independence without adult supervision, and setting up bank accounts, and of course, much, much more. Our ultimate goal is to motivate, instill confidence, and give these younger adults a strong sense of purpose and support. The HUD Award will further support the Promise Prince George's initiative aimed at enhancing the county's current cutting-edge youth work and support a larger comprehensive community planning process that will ensure innovative and targeted service delivery to meet the unique needs of homeless youth in our county. Youth and young adults with lived experience will be working side by side with caring adults to ensure the services and housing solutions we design are delivered with the greatest possible impact, and that the lessons learned are shared nationally with other communities across the country. It is important to note that Prince George's County has been very entrenched in this work for many, many years. And we have many accomplishments to tout. For instance, development and operation of youth-specific housing services, being identified as one of 2 Maryland jurisdictions appointed to the Governor's Task Force to study housing and supportive services for unaccompanied homeless youth in Maryland. This work has resulted in Youth Reach Maryland, a statewide enumeration of unaccompanied youth and adults experiencing homelessness, and the state tuition waiver during adding homeless youth to the Maryland waiver previously applied to youth in foster care, and the Ending Youth Homeless Act of 2018, providing the platform for additional funding for programming for this population. Of course, I could go on and on, but I want you all to be able to get out and enjoy some of this weather away from here. In closing, or near closing, I want to personally thank and give gratitude to Director Gloria Brown Burnett and her fabulous Department of Department of Social Services team for all their hard work behind the scenes and meeting the criteria to receive the grant. Now, I know that Gloria would chastise me for singling her out, because she knows that it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of great people working with you and for you to make this to achieve these types of accomplishments. So I want to again acknowledge the work that her team has done, that fabulous team, but also want to again state I know what kind of leadership this takes to make it happen, and Gloria brings that leadership to the table day in and day out, and I'm grateful to have her to lean on for a lot of this work. So thank you again. I also want to acknowledge HUD again for recognizing our past efforts and vested interest in eradicating youth homelessness by selecting the county for this opportunity. We will continue to work with a sense of urgency so we can do more and give more to do well by our deserving youth. And we've already mentioned a few of our champions in the legislature, Senators Cardin and Van Hollen. I'm a pediatrician, so I can't ignore that. Okay, everything's cool. and certainly Congressman Brown and Hoyer for their continued support. And one of our other colleagues who's here, our CEO for the Prince George's County Municipal Library System, Roberta Phillips, who has also been a tremendous partner in the work that we're doing. And we're really moving forward here in Prince George's County. So again, overall, we are working hard every day to promote, enhance, and preserve the health and well-being of all Prince Georgians. And I thank you for your partnership and look forward to working for you in the coming days, months, and years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Askew. I'm scared to touch this mic now. Dr. Askew mentioned that what we're planning, what we have been doing and what we will be doing going forward will involve our youth. And we're not going to do it for them without them. And we have a youth here from our advisory board who is going to bring a few remarks. Dejanay Day has been working with helped us with the application, helped us with our 100-day challenge, has been invaluable in helping inform the work and the direction that we've taken. And I'd like to bring her to say a few words.
Oh man, y'all are tall. Hello, my name is Dejanay Day. I am a recent graduate of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I am a first-year grad student majoring in public relations and concentration in management. I'm a first-time mom, and I am a former resident at Promise Place. In 2015, I became homeless and was introduced to Mr. Robert Bell at Promise Place. At first, I was scared, but after a while, it became a safe haven for me transitioning from school on the holidays. Now in 2019, I've been a part of a homeless symposium in Annapolis, highlighting homelessness and my personal experiences being homeless. And also been proactive on the Youth Action Board, attending meetings and figuring out ideas on how to cancel homelessness altogether. Hopefully in the next 7 years or even sooner, I can be in a political stance where I can tackle homelessness a lot more and implement ideas like you're creating today. With the grant being presented today, I am hoping that there's more programs like Promise Place so that they can help out college students like myself or high school students or anybody in Prince George's County become, how can I say this, a valuable citizen and a responsible adult growing up in Prince George's County. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dejanay. What better way to bring HUD to the front, right, than to say thank you to Dejanay for highlighting how much this opportunity will mean to children in Prince George's County. So with that, I'd like to ask Joseph DeFelice, Regional Administrator, Region 3, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, to please come forward. I think you're going to bring some remarks and do the check presentation. The check.
All right. Hey, Janae, that was awesome. That was great. See, now I got to move this. All right. It's kind of a good reason to be here, huh? I think. You tell me. You all right over there, Marvin? All right. Well, on behalf of the President and the Secretary, I'm very happy to be here today. Going a little off script for a second. The issue with the epidemic dealing with youth homelessness is something that I hadn't been totally familiar with until I did a youth pit count when I first started. And one of the issues, because we did our standard pit count when we literally walked through the streets of Philadelphia and we encountered people sleeping on benches or people in shelters, and we had conversations. But when we did the youth pit count, it was much different. We went out with a survey. And to the naked eye, people that wouldn't have appeared homeless, indeed, were homeless. Issues of people that were couch surfing, people that ran away from home. I encountered one 17-year-old kid grew up outside of Philadelphia in a rural area and came out to his parents as gay, 14 years old, and they said, all right, well, you can't live here anymore, go find somewhere else. So he ended up on the streets of Philadelphia, bouncing around I'm a 14-year-old kid, bouncing around from shelter to shelter. But to the naked eye, I mean, he was dressed well, he had a phone, and I was thinking, how could this kid actually be homeless? So something that really opened my eyes to this. My counterpart, so if they're not familiar, so I'm the regional administrator, so I cover Pennsylvania through West Virginia. My counterpart who covers Region 9, which is Nevada, Arizona, Hawaii, and California, he schooled me even more. His name's Chris Patterson. Chris was a foster child to the time he was 8 years old. When he was 8, he was adopted by his foster family till I believe he was 12, which time his foster family said, we don't want you anymore, and sent him back out. So, I mean, so he has been schooling me pretty much along the way on really what this entails. And I couldn't even imagine this. When I was 18, I went away to college. When I was 22, I came home from college. My mom was there. And I had laundry done, and I had a cooked meal. And then I went away to law school. And when I was 25, I came home from law school until I bought my first house. And I stayed there for a year and a half. So when we start talking about not just our youth, when we really start talking about those that 18 to 25 years, I know the safety net that I had in place. Now, I wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but we weren't poor either. We came from a middle-class household. So the safety net that and the struggles that I know that I had to deal with, right, as someone that had a stable home, that had that safety net. I can't even imagine, Janae, people, you like yourselves that are really kind of trailblazing this, essentially, I mean, on your own with the support of all the people really that are here and all the programs that I just totally went off this entire script. I might not even read this. If I do read it, I'll just email it. If I don't read it, I'll email it to all of you. It was really good. But I'm being serious. So it's something that I've really opened my eyes to, and I did an interview on KDKA in Pittsburgh. We recently gave Allegheny County the same amount that we're giving here, and I was talking to the good doctor over here about veterans homelessness, and I really, as we've been looking at homelessness, there's like this old corny saying, right? Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you just kind of look at homelessness as this elephant, it's really kind of hard to attack. But if you begin to segment it, like veterans homelessness and youth homelessness and female homelessness and the different ways of looking at things, and it really kind of helps segment it and really helps us give our focus. So we are still focused obviously on veterans homelessness, but today we're here to talk about youth homelessness. So I want to thank everyone, Dr. Gloria, Renee, and all the members of the Department of Social Services who have played such a critical role in ending youth homelessness here in Prince George's County. I would like to recognize and thank our host, Promise Place. Those kids were a great backdrop, but you had to go and remove them, so they couldn't be here when I was talking. For the critical work they do each and every day to connect those most in need with stable housing. I'd also thank our HUD team. We have Norm Suchar. He's our subject matter expert, as everyone keeps talking about. He's the director of the Office of Special Needs Assistance Program. So what Marvin's going to say is I might be signing the check, but the money comes out of Norm's pot. So we thank Norm more than me. And Marvin Turner. Marvin's the director of our National Capital Office that covers D.C., Alexandria, PG County, and a few others. So if you get a minute when you're done, those are the two guys you need to talk to. They can really hook you up with some other things that are out there. But I guess we're going to do this big check now, and I actually have to sign this thing, right, Marvin? You do. Okay. So I guess, is this when we bring everybody up here? Yep. Okay. Do I have to sign it like in front of people? Oh, okay. You want me to just sign it like this? I don't really like these kinds of things, but I understand the symbolism.
Can I ask our partners?
There we go. There you go.
Partners?
I'm going to hold this up over here.
One more. Jared. And everybody's good?
You get to see your wife?
In my party.
The goal of the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program is to support communities in the development and implementation of a coordinated community approach to preventing and ending youth homelessness, and sharing that experience with and mobilizing communities around the country towards the same end. This program was developed, this is important, this program was developed by youth who had experienced homelessness for youth experiencing homelessness. That in and of itself is a new and unique approach. Lessons learned from those who have actually lived the challenge. And one thing that I joke about on a regular basis is, as my job as regional administrator, I really travel around this Mid-Atlantic region pretty regularly. I mean, we've done what, Marvin, like 170 counties in 2 years, really. And the headquarters guys, where's Norm at? Headquarters guys get a little upset when I say this, but my job isn't to dictate down. My job's to dictate up. So you have a lot of really smart people sitting in headquarters. I sometimes call it the concrete bubble. They sit in headquarters and they come up with these great ideas and these cookie cutter approaches that don't necessarily always work in the communities where we go. So my goal has been saying, that might work in DC, but it's not necessarily going to work in Dinwiddie, Virginia, or we might work in Pittsburgh, but it's not necessarily going to work in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. So that's kind of the approach that we've been taking on a regional level. So I'm happy to hear that headquarters is kind of reduplicating that approach here, really learning from those that do the work on the ground and dictating up rather than telling them this is how you should do it because we're so much smarter than you. So we look forward to working with all of our partners here today because together we can and will end youth homelessness in PG County. Thank you. Congratulations. Oh, and one last thing. Big game Sunday. Go Eagles.
Thank you. We Prince Georgians love that you love us. With the Prince George's County Strategic Plan for Unaccompanied Homeless Youth, the Youth Homeless Demonstration Opportunity has a strong foundation, you've seen some of the partners, to coordinate community planning and measure outcomes. The Department of Social Services, along with the Homeless Continuum of Care, is committed to ending youth homelessness and developing innovative ways to deliver services. This funding will grant us the opportunity to do much of what is needed to build and sustain a system of care for unaccompanied homeless youth. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to working with each of you to move this forward.